Welcome everybody, special welcome to you if you're new to the channel. Thank you for my members who stuck by me. I've not been recording for a bit because I've been unwell. But today we're going to talk about transition into adulthood for adopted children. And you might be thinking, well, I've not adopted yet, or my children are very young. Is this going to be relevant? Well, I hope to make it relevant for you. So I have two adopted sons who are now 15 and 16, 15 and a half and 16 and a half actually, and we've had them from very young. So we've gone all the way through childhood and we're just about to kind of enter into adulthood and go into that transition. So the things that I want to sort of mention to you right now is when you first adopt younger children, you kind of are running around looking after them physically, you're meeting with professionals, you're trying to work really, really hard to pan out the best course of life for them and give them all the help that they need. As they get older, you're in a situation where they've got to start making decisions for themselves and you have to pull back a little bit. And the first thing to say about that, that's really, really hard. I think when we are fighting for fostered and adopted children, we've got to be a really strong voice, a really strong advocate. And when we see they're wronged, we step in and we challenge professionals about what they're doing, or we challenge peer groups. Whatever we need to challenge, we do it. We learn to be a real strong voice for our children, and that is right and proper. We also learn to maybe compensate for some of the things they've not had. So in the case of our boys, severe neglect and things that really trouble them, you then compensate for that. So I have birth children as well, and I can tell you it's very different, the way that I parent the boys, and it's not all size fits all. It's not treat everybody the same. It is actually different with them. We do make allowances for them. We maybe accept sometimes when we're spoken to inappropriately. We look at why, and we don't condone it, but we are coming from a different place, if you get my drift. So it's different. And you're very, very busy when they are younger, paving the way for them to develop well, to be looked after correctly, and to be loved and to be safe. Okay, that's what you're busy doing. But as they get older, you start to realise there are decisions you have to make about what you're not going to do. Okay, so I know it's odd, but what you're not going to do. Now, all the time through school, we've had to fight for the boys for their education, the right health needs, whether they've needed testing for anything, we fought for them. And now we're at the point where we have to decide when not to fight anymore. So let me give you an example. Both boys are now developing their interests for later in life. Okay, so what they're going to do as a job, what they're going to do independently, because that's really important to Tim and I. We're not young anymore, and we need to know that they could live independently. That's what we're fighting for. So we don't want to cost it them too much. Okay, we don't want to make every packed lunch, every meal, everything be exactly the same every day. Now, on lots of my videos, I've said to you, please do that in the beginning. Make sure that your child knows what time food is coming. They know what their daily routine is going to be, to take away any fear factor, to take away any unknown. But now as the boys are getting older, and they're reaching the stage where they're about to go into adulthood, if we make everything the same all the time and so safe all the time, then actually they're going to really struggle. So now we started pulling back on doing those things, and now we will encourage them to do their own bit of cooking. It may not be what we would choose for them to eat, it may not be even edible, but we encourage them. We encourage them to go out with their friends more and to know what time to come in. We encourage them to start making decisions for themselves, things that they may have never decided they wanted to do before. We maybe encourage them down the route of having another go. Something, for example, they used to love swimming and then they went off of swimming because probably body consciousness, and now we're kind of like, let's try again, you know. And so we went on a holiday. One of them in particular went in the water and started to enjoy that again. And if we hadn't have encouraged him to do that, then he may have just sat on the side and just missed out on all of that. The fact that he got stung by a jellyfish is another matter. It probably did definitely put him off. So yeah, so now we're looking at what vocations they might want to do. And Something happened recently with college for one of the boys where he came home really stressed because something had happened. I think his peer group had played a bit of a joke on him, and he took it very to heart because in secondary school, comprehensive then, he has been severely bullied, and in the end we had to take him out. It was the last year we had to take him out and homeschool, and some of you, if you've looked at my videos, will know this. So I think he was in a dark place that day. He came home, and I think those memories of what had happened to him before really played on his mind. And rightly or wrongly, I was quite firm with him because he was talking about, I can't do this anymore, I need to move groups and all this sort of thing. And I was quite firm and said, no, you like this college, you love what you're doing, you know, don't be too hasty moving groups, don't overreact. And he didn't like it, but when it came down to it, he did actually manage to sort out the situation with his friends. And I think he realised that they were just playing a joke on him, and maybe it had gone too far, but they weren't trying to bully him. And he's beginning to decipher the difference between someone who's genuinely trying to hurt him and actually something he didn't like, but it wasn't intentional. And that's what he needs to learn, because as he goes into the workplace, somebody might have a joke with him that he doesn't like, but it doesn't mean to say that they are trying to discredit him in any way. And so it's a case of like, now we need to start getting a little bit firmer. We need to start guiding and trying to get both of them to understand their emotions and understand their own reactions to things. It's not just the older one, the younger one. I'll give you another example. I like to give you examples so you know I'm living with the challenge. Yesterday, won't go into it too much, but he was completely going off the wall about something. Not as he used to. He's not as bad as he used to be, but he was going on and on and on about something that had gone wrong and he didn't like, and he was comparing it to me because I was doing something similar and it was successful and he didn't like it. Okay, so I'm just going to say social media, all right? I'll put that out there, social media. And something had happened and he wasn't able to progress what he wanted to do, and he just kept going on and on and on and on about it. Now, I could have got annoyed about it. I was annoyed about it, but instead of kind of overreacting, I was thinking, where is this coming from? Well, this is coming from a place of insecurity, possibly jealousy. And so I had to sort of say to him, look, this is not a competition. Talk about why his hadn't worked and keep coming back to it and saying it will be okay, everything will be fine, you just stick with it, you know, you've done really well so far, and these are the reasons why it's not working, and just keep coming back to it, and then sort of walk away a little bit. Now, before, if he'd spoken to me like that, I might have reacted more sharply, but he is getting a lot better at managing his tempers, his anger, and being able to reflect. So talking back to him about why he was feeling like that was probably going to be the way to go for him. And he's sort of like the opposite to the other one, gets really, really angry really quickly, and the other one gets really withdrawn and really, really stressed. So it's a case of working with them now, because what we want, of course, is them to be able to hold relationships down, to be able to hold a job down, and we don't want them to have to rely on Tim and I forever. And so it's a case of like nudging them and pushing them out now. And I suppose what I'm saying is, when you have a younger child, just bear in mind they are going to grow up. Bear in mind that some of the things you're going through now will not always be the things. I feel like the challenges that we face with the boys are more complex now, but less physical. We still have physical aspects. We still have a lot of physical things that we have to deal with them. We still have some of the blueprint, which hasn't changed from the time they were 2 and 3. Similar, but different. And it's more about them understanding their minds and their emotions and accessing whatever help they can get around that. So again, in another video, I've mentioned my older son accessing therapy, and my younger son is just about to go through another assessment, which I'll talk to you about more when that's happened. He was diagnosed with early childhood developmental trauma, but I still feel there's more to it as well. I believe he has that, obviously, but I believe there might be more to it, and I might be wrong. But what I'm trying to do is get the maximum help and protection he can get when he's not with me anymore, when he's trying to find his way in the world, when he's trying to hold down a job. And I want to make sure that I've explored every avenue for that. And so that's a different way of kind of fighting the good fight, as it were. When they're younger, you're running around, you're changing nappies, you're making sure, you know, they're eating properly, you're maybe attending appointments. As they get older, you're thinking, how are they going to survive without me, and what is it I need to do? So that is transitioning into adulthood. I just want to say a big thank you to my members. I still have 5 members, which I cannot believe, because I think it's nearly 2 months since I made a video. So I just want to say thank you so much for the blessing that you bring to me by just sticking in there and doing that. If anybody else wants to become a member, feel free. I haven't done any members videos for a while, but I did used to do them quite regularly, and I'm pretty sure that I will get into it again eventually when I'm fully well, as I'm not fully well at the moment. I'm not fully well, don't need to go into that, but not well enough to do lots of videos at the moment. So hope you guys are well, and I'll see you on the next video for Fly Little Birds. Thank you.